Hari Om, Bhajagovindam chanting verses 26 till the end.
Kamam krodham lobham moham tyaktvaatmanam pashyati soham Atmajnana vihina mudha te pachyante narakanigudha Yeyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dheyam Shripati Rupamajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dina Janaya Chavittam Sukhatah kriyate Rama bhogah paschadhanta sharire rogah Yadyapi loke maranam sharanam tadapi na munchati papacharanam Arthamanartham bhavaya nityam nasti tata sukhalesha satyam Putradapi dhana bhajam bhitihi sarvatraisha vihitaritihi Pranayamam pratyaharam nitya viveka vicharam Japya sameta samadhi vidhanam Purvavadhanam mahadavadhanam Guru charanambuja nirbhara bhaktah samsaradachirabhava muktaha Sendriya manasa niyamadevam Drakshasi nija hridayastham devam Bhaja Govindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate Samprapte sannihite kale Nahi rakshati dukrin karane Nahi rakshati dukrin karane Nahi rakshati dukrin karane
Sahana bhavatu Sahanau bhunaktu Saha viryankaramavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti The concluding topic Bhajagovindam is a rejoinder or the reply given by Shankara, which sums up the entire Bhajagovindam and also comes as a blessings of him. Now, when he started off Bhajagovindam, first he explained wealth and then he moved to enjoyment. Now he is giving about enjoyment first and then he goes to wealth acquisition. He just reverses the thing. Because in the initial stages, acquisition and then enjoyment. In the end, it is enjoyment that matters essentially for us. Acquisition is incidental. That is not essential. That is not primary focus of us. The primary focus of life is to enjoy. I want to enjoy. But my problem is, I cannot enjoy if I am not having that. Therefore, let me acquire it. So first comes is actually enjoyment. Internally, it is enjoyment that the thought of enjoyment comes first. The pursuit starts from acquisition. The purpose starts from enjoyment. That is why there is a switchover. In the initial stages, he starts with reference to the pursuit of life. Now he is analyzing from the purpose of life. From the pursuit angle, it is acquisition that comes first. It's exactly like this. When you are going out from the house, first you put on your waist and then shirt. When you go to office, come back from office, which one you remove first? You can't say, first I put on waist, therefore first I will remove waist. Not possible. First you have to remove the shirt. After removing the shirt only you can remove your waist. Even though it is a waist that you put on first. Isn't it? The whole context changes. You know, when you are going out, one rule. When you come in, another rule. Similarly, in this analysis also, there are two ways in which we do the analysis. From this angle, when you come, it is acquisition first, then enjoyment. When you are reversing the process, there it is enjoyment first and then acquisition. First is Kamini, then comes Kanchana, gold. Now what he is saying is, don't think, when you read this two verses, there's a very good possibility of misunderstanding. With reference to enjoyment, what we will misunderstand is, if you read it carefully, you are yielding to the sense pleasures. So what you should do? You should not. You take to it so easily. Although death is the end in the world, even then one does not leave his sinful ways. Even then you will not leave your... So what are you supposed to do? Leave it. No, that's not what is referred here. What is referred here is, it is the adharmic ways in which you employ to derive sense joy. What is the dharmic method and what is the adharmic method? It is nothing wrong with having sense pleasures in life, please. There's nothing wrong in that. The scriptures is not, Shankara is not against the sense pleasure itself, per se. Per se, he is not against it. But he is against the way in which you are going about. That's where the problem is. What is the way in which we are going is where the objection is. Our way of going about it is what? The whole purpose of life itself is to enjoy. You see, we take the sense pleasures to be an end of life. Highest life that you can conceive of is what? Best thing that you can conceive of. You ask people, what is it that you want the best in life? You cannot think of anything beyond enjoyment. You see, you would never find a person who says, how I want to live life. I want to live life right through working. All my life, I want to keep contributing, making that effort. Unless he is is like exercising. Unless you are having the agenda of going for a Miss Universe competition or Mr. Universe competition. Unless you are a bodybuilder by profession, you see, we don't want to exercise. We don't want to. Now, work is not what I want. But what I want, sir, I want the consequences of effort. Work. What is that? Salary. I want more salary. I want more profit. I want more recognition. I want more sales. I want more of the effect. Now the focus is where? Is your focus on the cause or your focus on the effect? Salary is effect. Your promotion is an effect. Or else there has to be a necessity forcing you to do work. You see, I still remember we used to get, one lady, we were in Malapur, remember, Tai, mother, we all of us call her mother because from my earliest memory, she is old. She has never been young, it seems, this lady. It's like, can you believe Mother Teresa young? She must have been young once, isn't it? But if you see that young picture of Mother Teresa, you won't get any inspiration. You won't feel anything. You look at that picture. Recently, somebody sent me the picture of, old lady. Can you recognize her? Some actress must be. Some actors are politicians. Only these two pictures, we get old, black and white photograph. Then the fellow sent me, this is Mother Teresa early when she was working in that school, in Calcutta. I said, I couldn't believe. Oh my God. But to my eyes, old Mother Teresa looks more beautiful than that young Mother Teresa. Somehow it's strange, You feel, there are few people who don't look so good. Like that, this lady, Tai, she would be working, and I've never seen anyone so dynamic working like that lady. Morning she will get milk for all the houses. Then she will go for some work. From there she will go to work in that school. She'll clean that school and all those things after the school hours are over. Then evening milk, she has to come home, collect all the vessels from everybody's house. Then she would go fetch the milk and come and apply. And then in the night, evening she goes to a few houses for work. So dynamic. Why she is doing like that? If she doesn't work for 1 week, finished. There's nothing to eat in the house. So therefore, what she has to do? Work. The moment you are comfortable, there is no pressure, what happens to all of us? In fact, most of us work only for what? So that one day I don't have to work. Like the students study for what? So that one day I don't have to study. The days of studying is not joyful. Now the focus is on the cause, the effect. Now pleasure is the ultimatum of life. If you take pleasure to be sense pleasures, eating, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing, that's all. Pleasures are all only that much. Hardly we see people who go beyond that sense pleasures. See, there are pleasure possibilities from mind and there are pleasure possibilities from intellect also. I'm not talking about Atma Sukham now. Satchit Sukham Allah, I'm not talking now. I'm not talking about that, Brahmananda, this and all in fact. I'm talking about pleasures you can get from mind minus senses. Without any sensory contribution, the mind itself can give pleasure. How many of us are craving for that? Minus mind, sheer intellectual joy. Where is that craving? That's what we call as hunger. There should be a hunger for knowledge. How many of us experience that hunger for knowledge? As much as that hunger we have for the sensory things. That's what he says. That kama bhoga, this carnal pleasure, sense pleasures to be the ultimate in life. If you are going to take the sensory pleasures to be the ultimate in life, that lifestyle is what he is objecting to. Incidentally, you may derive some pleasures, nothing wrong in that. That is why in Vedanta we say for every dimension there are two aspects. One is Mukhya Phala, another one is Avantara Phala. Mukhya Phala is the main result. Avantara is incidental. Like you go to Tirupati, Mukhya Phala should be what? Darshan of Balaji. Avantara Phala is what? Laddu. Now, what is the focus of you? The moment I say Tirupati, first thought you got in your mind is what? Balaji or Laddu? How many Laddus? Nowadays, Laddus have shrunk, in size. One fellow, I said, supposed to be Prasad. We think it's like, buying from Kesidas, sweet. The people compare, Kesidas Laddu and Tirupati Laddu. This is supposed to be Prasadam. You see, it's not a, sweet stall where you buy. People go there only for the Laddu. Mukhya Phala is what? Avantara Phala. Now we are taking, in life you go about. The problem is the moment you come in contact with the things, you start indulging in them. Indulgence in the sense you wanted to repeat that experience again and again. You want the repetition of it. You want it to be repeated. You want to have it again. You wanted to eat that again. You wanted to taste it again. You wanted to see that again. You go eat, see. You go eat, see. When you go on vacation, what else you do? Do you do anything other than these two things? Seeing, eating. Seeing, eating. Seeing, eating. You can say drinking also. Beyond that, do you do anything else? Whole life is only on what? The pleasures for the... He is not even talking about the pleasures of the mind and the pleasures of the intellect. We don't even know those things. The pleasures of mind, that also needs to be linked somehow to the body. Isn't it? Body means what? I want to hear someone telling me, I love you. Isn't it? If the other person doesn't tell that I love you, do you cherish? In fact, in the Western world, it's mandatory that every day you have to tell your wife, I love you 5 times. They have to tell. Every 2 hours. Every time they speak on the phone, they have to, conclude every conversation by saying what? I love you, honey. I love you, honey. They have to hear that. If you don't hear that, you are not able to relate. So the relationship is where now? With reference to the mind contacting the mind, body contacting body, body contacts the sense objects. When I say body contacting body, what I mean is body contacts the sense objects. Mind contacts emotions. Intellect contacts thoughts. Now, do we revel in a thought? Can you revel in just thought? Any thought, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying this thought, that thought, any thought for that matter. Even if you were to say that, sir, what is that you like the most in life? I am from Kumbakonam, South Indian, Brahmin. I can't live without morning coffee. Kumbakonam fellows means, they can't survive. It's like oxygen for them. They can survive even without oxygen. There are two things must for them: coffee and Hindu paper. If the Hindu paper and coffee is not there in the morning, means, he's out. Okay. You want coffee? Oh, yes. Okay, now hold on to the thought of coffee, no? Revel in the thought of coffee. Can you? Oh, I like mathematics. Just do you revel in the thought of mathematics? How many people are there? There are so many people study mathematics. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about a person who is reveling in those mathematical ideas. That's all. Not what you do. That's not the idea. That's not what I'm saying. The question is, do you revel in that? How many fellows are there like that? You can just count them in numbers in the world. Whereas you see people reveling in the thought of having ice cream, having a better house, gives you so much of pleasure. You see, that is what he means by sinful ways. Now, sinful ways immediately don't think into the extreme. We think, sinful ways means what? I snatch from others and eat. Only that is sinful. That is, that is also sinful, no doubt about it. But that sort of a sinful discussions is not going to be held with people of this stature. Shankara is not going to be referring to that sort of a thing. You don't steal, you don't murder people, you don't, snatch from others, you don't cheat others and get things done. He's not talking about those things. That is also sinful, no doubt. But that's not the context here. The context here is what's sinful means you take the sense pleasures to be the final, ultimate achievement in life. Meaning, all that I am doing in my life should result in that. If it doesn't result in that, I would call myself the effort is a waste. You see, that is what he means here. He says one happily takes. You comfortably take to it. You say that, I wanted to do this, I want to do that. You've taken. That doesn't mean you should not have any sense pleasures at all in life. That's what many people thought. They thought, oh, Shankara is saying this, therefore they thought what? This is no sense pleasure should be allowed. So what to do now, sir? Reject all possibilities of pleasures. That's what we see, few people practicing it to the absurdities. There are few people we see in this, in Rishikesh. All those people have got a name there. In Rishikesh side, if you go, they are called as, Udasina Maharaj. There is a group of people, they are called Udasina Maharaj. What do they do, sir? You give them, roti and sabji. They will take that roti and sabji from you, take that, go to the Ganges, wash it there, and then eat. And they say, the roti and sabji is for me. The taste is to be offered to the Ganges. Why? The taste also you should not eat. So how you should have, sir? Just eat. That's enough. And they think they are practicing this. That's not what is referred. If that is a rule, then the whole world will come to a standstill. Then you can't call it as Sanatana Dharma. You see, universal principle. That sort of things are meant only for few exceptional cases and, not the rules. I'm not saying they are wrong. You see, they can follow that. Nothing wrong in that. But the point is, that cannot be what Shankara is saying here. If that is what Shankara is saying here, then this is not meant for you and me. Then this is not for us actually. Because this Bhajagovindam is addressed towards whom? Bhajagovindam, Shankara is speaking, to who he is speaking? That's what we should always keep asking this question. The Shastras were speaking to whom? Any book when you take, any scripture when you read, you should first ask this question. To whom the master is speaking? He is addressing to whom? I've told you, there are three students. A fool, ignorant, knowledgeable. There are three students. To a fool, one way the scripture will speak. To an ignorant man, it will speak in another way. To a knowledgeable man, it will speak in another way. You see? Now, Bhajagovindam is addressing to whom? He is not speaking to a knowledgeable person. Bhajagovindam is not for a knowledgeable man. He is addressing to Mudamate, fools. So, he is addressing his audience is who? You and me. Now, when he is talking to you and me, what is a thing that he can expect? He can't expect that practice of Udasina Maharaj to you and me. If he gives that as a methodology for you and me, it is totally out of context. Shankara will look like a fool then, who doesn't know who is his audience then. You see? Depending on audience, you have to speak. So Shankara is addressing to whom now? So he says, don't take to this, man. Even though you know, although death is the end in the world, even though there is going to be end to all this, whatever you are doing is nothing. So all that you have to do is what? Don't deviate from the pursuit. Keep that main pursuit, and on the way, incidentally, you may get certain pleasures here and there. That's okay. But to take those pleasures as the pursuit, as the Purushartha of life itself, then it becomes an issue. So first layer of understanding sinful ways is what? Follow this dharmic way of having pleasures in life. Right? You want to have certain things, you can enjoy, but not this. It's not correct. Or you wanted to have it, get onto this, life of a grihastha. A brahmachari is not allowed certain things. Grihastha is allowed certain things. You see, grihastha is allowed to have. A sannyasi is not allowed certain things. For example, accumulation of wealth is not allowed for a sannyasi. Also for brahmachari. But for a grihastha, that becomes a dharma. He is supposed to do that. You see, why? That's a different analysis. I'm not saying that. The rules will vary. You see, the rules will vary according to the context. To do something which is not according to your station and your position is called adharmic. It's not your current station. That's not your current position. It's like the cook who is working in the factory, canteen. and the labor who is working in the machinery in the same factory, how the labor will come out? He finishes his work, he is coming out. How he will come out? Spick and span? No, there will be oil, isn't it? The fellow is working in the car, he's repairing the car, let's say. From the shed, when that fellow comes out, he's not going to come out with so clean and all that. There will be oil everywhere. Imagine the cook were to be coming out like that. The cook is supposed to be clean. The cook is not supposed to have any blemishes. That's why even the servers, now they are saying they should have the hood, cover your head. You got to have your gloves on. Now, I'm not saying now in coronavirus period. I'm saying even before that, when we go to this, party and all that, those people who serve, how are they? They're all clean. The cooks have to be clean. The workman who is working in the machinery cannot afford to be clean. He has to be dirty. The beauty of him is being dirty. The beauty of this fellow is being clean. Imagine this fellow comes out dirty and that fellow comes out clean. That means what? He is not living to the standard in which he is supposed to live. That is called a sinful. You see? So sinful ways, when he says, you understand that from different levels. Lowest is this. Then you come to this. Then comes the philosophical interpretation. Third layer. Third layer of sinful ways means what, sir? Means any lifestyle that I live, any sense contacts, the pleasures that I enjoy, rebounds and agitates my mind, causes disturbance to me, agitation to my mind, disturbs my peace. That is referred here as sinful ways. So I told you, the scriptures were all studied in two ways. Remember, any shastra you take, how many angles you can look at it, in how many layers you can go. Every layer, there are different angles. You go to a different layer, different angles. Different angles and different layers is what creates the depth to the Shastra, the scripture. Otherwise, you can't distinguish between a classical literature and an ordinary work. You see, ordinary work is what? You read one, that's all. There's no more angle to it. Whereas you go to this classical literature, there are so many angles to it, so many aspects to it. Right? But you come to the scriptures, it is not only angles, it gives more depth also. You see, Sidney Sheldon, Shakespeare, Shankara. There's a difference. Sidney Sheldon is what? You can read once, that's all. Why? There's only one angle to it. There's nothing more. Right? If you have to create another angle, means you have to squeeze something out of it. Otherwise, you won't get it. Okay. Now, you go to Shakespeare, there are many angles to it. But you won't find different layers of, depth going in. As you keep evolving, as you keep growing, it speaks differently to you. It speaks differently to you. To every level, it varies. That is why in other subjects we have graduation. When it comes to life, there's no graduation. What you have studied in the second standard is the same thing you will be studying in master's degree also. In second standard, they said what? Speak the truth. You come to the Upanishad, that one also says what? Speak the truth. We wonder, sir, this we have heard in second standard. Now you are saying the same thing now also? No. the way in which you read that same statement is totally different now. It looks very, very different. The depth that you are able to achieve varies. So that's how we see here. One is very ordinary. Then you go to the next layer. Then you come to the next layer. The subtlest layer you reach here is this. Is anything I do, that sense pleasures that I go to, results in what? Agitation. That's called the sinful ways. So what are you supposed to do then, sir? Then how can I continue to have the contact and not get agitated because of the contact? At the same time, able to derive some pleasure out of it. That is called a spiritual life. Now, spiritual life is not denying the sense contact itself. No. You contact, but you contact, you enjoy, you derive that pleasure, but this whole process doesn't result in mental agitation over a period of time. That's what he says, paschadapaha. Paschadapaha means what? You regret later on. When you are indulging, you will never feel that. And then you put on weight. After you had put on weight, you regret. Saying what? Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't have, done like that. You keep on regretting. Earlier they said yes. Now they are saying what? No. Few years back, they all said all of us should drink only Coca-Cola, Pepsi. This is the best. The cool thing is to have Coke. Those who order Coke were considered as cool fellows. Now what is it? You're saying Coca-Cola is used only to wash your pots. Pot when it gets dirty, how do you clean it, sir? They say Harpic won't work. Best thing to do is what? That's what they do in the road. When there's an accident that happens, if they have to clean the road, how to clean that stain, the blood stain and all that from the tar road. How do you remove it, sir? They say pour Coke. It will clean the whole thing. What it does, sir, it's causing tremendous harms. I remember one fellow was showing that interview. He's actually taking, the number of sachets, sugar content in that glass of Coke. 27 sachets he takes and counts in front of this vice president sales world, Coke, a fellow sitting there. Do you tell that to the world? Yes. That's why when you have migraine, when you have headache, you take Coke, immediately you will feel the relief. Why? So much of sugar shoots up. And you know how much of sugar your body can absorb in a day? They say 5 milligrams, which is one sachet. Right? 5 grams is that one sachet. Right? Now in one bottle Coke, you have 27 sachets. What happens to the rest of the 26, which is not absorbed by the body? What happens to that? It doesn't get flushed out, remember. It doesn't get flushed out. It's not a fiber, remember. A fiber will get flushed out. You can't digest it. It comes out. So nothing happens to the body. But sugar is not like that. What happens to that then? Where it goes? How it gets processed then? No clue you have. And not to talk about the effect of carbon dioxide in that drinking. What happens to your system? No clue you have. But you have, that is what? is a pleasure when you are drinking it. Later on, what you do, sir, you regret. That's what he calls as paschatapa. You go through the pleasures of life, but you never understand. Although there is end to all this, it's not that you don't know it. Everybody knows that you are going to die. But still, this sensory pleasures, of that sensory pleasures, the subtle one is hearing. Subtle, that is. The most difficult thing to overcome is the taste of all the five senses. Now, many people think it is the, skin, sparsha sukha. Sparsha sukha is not the big thing. I think it is, the sparsha sukha is what is difficult. No, it's not that. It's that weakness for the taste. The tongue is the most difficult thing to leave. Like that weakness for muruku, you lose all the tooth, still you will powder it and eat. Somehow you have to consume it. You cannot leave that. See, you put it in mixie. Like, my grandma used to do that. He never had tooth in life. Then how can you have muruku then? But she has nothing doing. The best part of the muruku is that biting. Only when you bite, there is a joy. You see, you make it a powder and, mix it in water and swallow, drink. It's like, what is the point? But still what? Have to have. This, the taste, It's very rare you find a person has a great weakness for hearing. Have you seen? You see, what is a weak? When you think of the five senses, sensory pleasures mean there are five senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Right? Of that, you see which strikes you first. When I say sense pleasures, which sense comes to your mind first? You will see maximum falling under only these two categories. What is this? Skin and tongue. Very, almost impossible to find a man who has, I have a great weakness for hearing. You see that? That, you don't have a weakness for hearing. Very rare to find, Nowadays, we are not having people like that. The world is becoming more and more gross. How do you identify that? Even in the senses, there are grades. See, rare indeed. See, it's not like, you like music, correct? But you don't have a weakness for music. That's what I'm saying. You see, there is a difference. Remember, I have a flair towards music. That's one thing. But I have a weakness for music is another thing. You see, I enjoy music, correct? There's another category who comes in between. You see, it's okay. I love music. Then comes in music, there are grades. You see, grades of music are there. Ghazal is also music. Rap is also music. Isn't it? Ghazal is also music only. Rap is also music only. Movie songs also we have. That's also music. Pop music is there. Then you have classical music. Then you have, in classical, there are grades. Semi-classical, pure classical. In classical music, which one? You go to this music concerts, it's very interesting to see people. See, in the music concert, the audience will start participation only after the mridangam player starts playing. See, very rare you find, amongst the group also, Nowadays, you go to these music concerts, the raga elaboration is reducing a lot now, of late. The raga elaboration is reducing. Whereas, songs are more now, number of songs. Why this is the case? It's not that the musicians, please. I don't have any doubt about the musician's ability. Yeah. But they don't do it. Why they don't do it? Because if he sings one raga for 45 minutes, right? Raga alap goes for 45 minutes, let's say, audience will not be there. In 45 minutes, he has to sing. Yeah, they sing raga. How many minutes, sir? 20 minutes. Beyond that 20 minutes, they don't sing that raga. Very rare indeed. I remember there's only one man who was doing it. Now I don't see anyone doing it. Madurai TN says Yasha Gopalan, senior musician. He used to do this one raga concerts. His entire concert is that one raga. He will take that one raga, one song. That's all. He will start one varnam, then start the raga, then Mangalam, finished. One raga concerts. How many audience are there, sir? But whereas in other music concerts, when he sings, there will be a lot of people, packed audience. Here it is loose packing. It's not packed, it's loosely packed. Why? There is a drop. Even in sense pleasures, to contact that subtler senses, and in that there are various things. You have to see, subtler you go for the pleasures, the possibility of agitation is less. Remember, like that's why you can listen to this Carnatic music. They sit for no break, nothing, no stopping, nothing in between. Even you go to a movie, you need a break in between, isn't it? There has to be an interval. 10 minutes interval is needed. People have to go. Everybody will run to the restroom. I go to the music concerts. We sit there for 3.5 hours, 4 hours, we are sitting there. When you come out, that's what the difference is. Remember, you are seeing, same way in that stage also there will be lights heavily on the musicians, right? You listen to that music concert, 3.5 hours you are there. When you are walking out, you don't walk out tired. Even if you go to Rajinikanth movie, you walk out tired. Doesn't make any difference. Even you go to a normal movie which is for only 1.5 hours, English movies, you will only go for 1.5 hours or so. You come out, you will feel tired. Here, you are sitting for 3.5 hours, you are not tired. What is the difference? That is what he says. Sinful ways. What is sinful ways, sir? The end of that contact, you feel tired. That's what is meant by agitated. When you say agitated, what's the meaning, sir? You get tired of it. Your bodily, you feel your energy is drained. You have expended your energies. You feel like you have lost your energies, in fact. You don't come back with rigidity. But what is interesting here is the sense objects, the sensory things are feeding the senses. You are feeding it. By feeding, how can you get tired? What is the meaning of that? Okay, if you don't understand this, it's too subtle. Okay. You eat in the house, you go to a party or to a restaurant. When you come out, look at all those people. how they go inside the restaurant, how they come outside the restaurant. You have eaten, which means when you are walking in, you are hungry, which means you should look little tired. When you are hungry, that hunger makes the body tired. Correct. Logical. After feeding, should you be more energetic or you should be more tired? What happens? People come outside the restaurant more tired, more heavy you feel. You don't feel satisfied. You feel that heaviness. You see, from where it comes, why it comes. That's what Shankara refers as sinful ways. Don't take sinful ways in the very ordinary sense of I am committing sin. What is sin, sir? This is sin. Even then one does not leave his sinful ways. Beautiful statement of his. You understand all this. As I'm explaining, after this you will go and have your dinner. What you will do? You go to sleep. Do you wake up refreshed or you wake up tired? Fatigue. That's why you need in the morning a shot. A coffee is needed to whip you up. That's why they are saying all this toothpaste, comes with very strong flavors. You see the advertisement, no? Close-up ad, no? Close-up advertisement. Till the fellow goes to the bathroom tired and he goes. The moment he puts the paste in his mouth, suddenly he gets energy. Which means what? You have rested for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours you have rested. 9 hours of rest did not refresh you. That paste is going to refresh you. Means what? It's a drug. It's not refreshing you, please. It is actually destroying you. It's just, short. Which means your rest is also how? Your rest is not restful. Your rest is causing agitation. So what are you supposed to do then? And that is what Shankara here refers as sinful ways. Sinful ways. You have to reflect on that more and more. You get more ideas on this. Reflect well on that. Yes, don't believe in that. But we all believe, I'm going to be here. Always. Even if you understand that, still this will not live. It is in 28. And 29, he goes to the wealth acquisition. Verse 29. Artham anartham bhavaya nityam. Nasti tata sukalesha satyam. Putradabidana bhajam bhitihi. Sarvatraisha vihitariti. Wealth is calamitous. Reflect all the time. Truly, there is not the least happiness from it. The wealthy fear even the sun. This is how it is ordained everywhere. Sarvatraisha vihita hariti. This is how it is ordained everywhere. So don't think it is only during Shankara period it is like that. Nowadays it is not like that, sir. It is not like that. Everywhere it's a rule. Like what is advice given to every retirement fellow? Anybody getting retired, what's advice given to them, sir? Don't give all the retirement benefit to your son. Okay? Give him some money, that's okay. But don't give everything to him. Don't register the house immediately on his name. Register it in your name. Why? If the house is not in your name, what your son will do? Chuck you out. If not your son, better half will chuck you out. You know. Why we say that? That's what Shankara says. The wealthy even fear their own son. Their own son means, don't take it literally. Son means, son is your own extension, your own image. Is just, you take yourself out of you and put it outside. That's your son. Right? You get fear about your own self, your own image. Your image will get scared. It's a fascinating idea. How can you get scared of yourself? You see, when you have that wealth, those who have nothing don't have any fear. They live life fearlessly. You see, the wealthy alone, have this security, that security. Like in our apartments, they gave. When I came here to see our house, first thing I registered was there was no peephole in that main door. In the main door, they'll have a peephole. When somebody comes and rings a calling bell, there's, we see through the peephole and then open the door. There's no peephole. So I asked them, do you do that now or when will you put that peephole? No, we don't have this peephole. We keep one, camera. I said, what camera? They'll ring the bell here and there'll be a display inside my house, in the hall. So in the hall, I will see their photograph. The video will come. The display will come. Then I can go. I said, for what it has to be? No, security. I said, what is security in this? No, you don't have to go near the door to open the door. I said, in which country we are living? I said, as though I am living in the land of dacoits. Anybody can walk into my house anytime to kill me. Am I such an important fellow? What? I said, it gives you a big ego, I say. I said, see, in the main gate, there is some security. And then there is a security we are having in the every tower. In the tower, there is some security sitting. He checks. Anybody walks in, he asks, who are you? Where are you going? And all those things. He does the checking. And then this fellow comes and there is a camera set all the floors to see. And we have this camera in every on. If a fellow can cross all those things and then comes to burgle from my house, I said, it's worth, man. That for his partners, we should reciprocate. What is a big, as though, you are such an important person. I go to this, some of the places, for the classes. Oh, I'm going to the house. The fellow brings a dog, sniffing, and he says, open the boot. And nowadays, they are saying, open the bonnet also. Now you got to open the bonnet, you got to open the boot. I said, what if I have kept the bomb in, under my seat? From next, another 5 years down the line, the dog will come inside your car also. Will sniff. Now what you have to do, sir? Get out of the car, step outside, like in the, in New York. They say, I have to step outside the car, stand this side, keep your both the hands up on the bonnet. They have to check you, and then I will come to your house as your guest. Who does that? But look at the people living in the platform. There is no door. They just have a piece of cloth hanging. That's all. The difference is inside or outside is what, sir? A piece of cloth. They pull that. It's a division. Why they don't bother about all that? You mean their life is not life, is it? They cannot be bombed. They cannot be killed. In what way your life is so superior to their life? Nothing of that sort. But why do you keep all those things there? Who has all those things? More affluent always have more security. Why? Why do you have to have? I've seen, this cameras in the house also. Why all that? That doesn't mean, all of you remove all the security and then, if anything happens, don't contact me, please. Okay. Ishwaran, you only said in Bhajagovindam class, Artham, Anartham, this one I have become. Unless you reach a stage where, like Shakespeare says, he who steals my purse steals trash. Big deal, man. So what? Then you cannot. But so long as you are not, for wealthy, fear even their own son. Your own family members you are scared of. I remember a lot of, these fellows have told me, I remember 2-3 cases in Bangalore itself. He says, Ishwaran, I am creating a family trust. I said, what is family trust? I knew trust means what? Public charitable trust and all I have heard. Religious trust and all I have heard. The endowment trust and all I have heard. What is this family trust? He said, all that, money and everything should be given in the trust and the beneficiary is my sons. Beneficiary is my son. Against whom you are creating it? He says, against his own wife. The mother, the kid's mother, he is suspecting. And then he calls that as trust. Just reminded of this verse only. For wealthy, fear their own wife also. Not only son. You fear your own wife, your own husband, your own parents you start suspecting. Why? Just have that little wealth. And it's not that you are having something like, so billions of crores you are having. Nothing of that sort. A fellow asked him, how much you have? How many thousand crores you have? And then I asked him, how many thousand crores you have as a debts? So essentially, there is nothing big he has. Even then, what is it, sir? Fear. You are so scared. So scared. That's why he says, wealth is calamitous. Artham, anartham. Artham, nityam anartham bhavaya. He says, Artham, anartham bhavaya nityam. So when you construct it, you rephrase it like that. That's all. It's all, that poetic, things. That's not necessary for you. But what he says is this. Artham is anartham. When nityam, that's the best part. It is not that once in a while wealth becomes anartham. No. Artham, anartham, nityam bhavaya. Always. This is satyam, he says. This is the truth. Always it is. Always it is calamitous only. Now, don't think it is so negative. People think, he's talking so negative, sir. He's not talking negative. Follow carefully. When you are thinking about wealth, what are the possibilities of wealth? In what are the ways in which you relate to wealth? Your relationship wealth is only with reference to 4 dimensions of it. There is no anything beyond this 4. Earning, preserving, spending, parting. These are the 4 aspects you can have with reference to wealth. There's nothing else you can do with wealth. You earn, and then whatever you have earned, you have to preserve, and then you spend, then you part. take one aspect at a time and analyze carefully. Every one of that is painful aspect. Earning is not a pleasure for you. Earning is painful. You see, it's not easy to earn a rupee. That's what every father tells their son. The teenage boy who starts smoking, let's say, first thing the father tells him is what? To earn every rupee, how much I am struggling. Only I know what all I have to go through in the office. What all I have to suffer. You know, how many fellows I have to say, yes sir, hello sir, how are you sir? Even though I hate that fellow to the core. I wish he's dropped dead right now. But still I have to inquire, how are you? I'm happy to see you. All that, how much of natak I have to do. How much of things I have to work to earn these rupees, and you fellows are simply enjoying. That's what all this, fellows, rich men, problem with reference to their wives is this. They think the wives are not doing anything. He is struggling and earning all the money. They are simply sitting in the house and wanting solitaire, this, that, all those things. This is what happened about 2 generations back. Now what is happening, sir? Nowadays women say what? Hell with you, man. I go, I work, I earn, I spend. Who are you to tell me? You see that? That's what he says later on. What, sir? When you have wealth, you fear your own wife. When she has wealth also, you fear her. Early stages, because men who had wealth and women were fearing them. Now what is it, sir? Women also have wealth, men are fearing them. That's all it is. But either case, what is it, sir? Fear is there. The earning is not easy. Preservation of that wealth is far more complex. Where to keep? Preserving wealth. What is it? How to preserve it? Where to keep? Where to keep? How to preserve it? And there are people who bought lands, they thought better investment is to keep on the land. Then after a few years, the fellow goes and sees there's already somebody is living. He built a house and he's living there. No, he says, no, this land belongs to me. No. Yeah. It's gone. Now you got to fight for your own land in the court. Preserving, you buy land and preserve it. It's not easy. Those who have that will understand. The land to keep. If you are not there, it's finished. You will not be there. Preserving that. Then comes spending. Where you should see spending is the best place to see this idea spending is when you go to this jewelry shops. You go to the jewelry shop. You see 2 people. You don't buy there. Simply go there and observe. Near the cash counter you stand and observe. One fellow will come and buy jewelry swiping a card. He'll swipe the card and pay and go. Another fellow will pay cash and buy. Right. Look at that fellow who's swiping the card, and look at the fellow who's paying cash. You see, the fellow who's paying cash will count it twice. And he'll give that money to the cashier there, and he will do the counting. And you see this man standing there, he will also count along with that. Have you seen? Have you seen that? You go to bank also, one of my uncle was a bank, cashier. I asked him, when you count that, in those days, no machine. I'm talking about in, early, maybe about 80s, perhaps maybe middle 80s. I remember. Asked him, cash counter, they give, you are counting cash. What is the most interesting thing about it? He says, When I am counting that cash, the person who is standing there, he also counts. He only told me that, and then I started observing, to see that it's fascinating. He had seen in front of my eyes only, he counted, and I have seen him counting, I have counted it. And he takes the cash. Still, what this fellow will do, sir? Count that again. Count that again. Count that again. When the credit cards came in, what happened? Lot of people, subscribe to their credit card, and in a matter of 2-3 years, lot of them returned it also. Why? Because they were spending more. They were overspending than what they're used to spending. Now, why is it that you don't overspend when you are spending from cash? Because you see money going out. You see, literally you can see. Now you are giving it and taking the jewelry only. You are taking the gold. It's not that you are giving it free or anything. You are taking the gold and giving cash. But when that money gives, you will never see that man giving that cash to the jeweler, casually. Never happens. This is a hesitation. A subtle hesitation you can see. That's what he says. Painful. Parting wealth is, forget it. Less I speak, better it is. You just cannot part with it. Just can't drop it and get out. That's what happened to Purandaradasa. Purandaradasa, this man was such a conjuice fellow. He is conjuice to what extent? His student says. I'm not saying, his disciple. Purandaradasa disciple says this. In his poetry he writes, one day he told his wife, it seems, that, hey, tomorrow I'm going to fast. No dinner for me. No dinner tomorrow for me. You have, I don't want to have, I'm not going to have dinner, so no dinner tomorrow. His wife Mahalakshmi, she asked him, so why? Because today, one fellow came to our house and ate. One fellow ate in our house. So that one meal should be compensated. How? I fast. Mahalakshmi got totally confused. Because she never knew. Because this man never invites anybody. He never allows anybody to come home also to have anything. This guy. When did this happen? In my dream, he says. In the Purandaradasa's dream, one fellow came to his house and had one meal. Therefore, he says, I'm going to fast. That confused these fellows. And suddenly he woke up from that slumber. He realized. But his wife was so charitable. She was the epitome of charity, this lady. But this guy is conjuice to the core. He is extreme conjuice. But once he woke up, he said, distribute the whole thing, let's go, walk out. I'm walking out of the house. Nothing. Let's go. To which she tells him, yeah, your awakening, I understand. Let us distribute the wealth and go, no. Because this man had, 9 kalasas in his house. In those days, the temples we have kalasas, no? Like that, kalasa is allowed only in 3 places. One, the king is allowed to have. Another one, temple is allowed to have. Third one is, anyone who is wealthy enough to have 1 crore. If you have 1 crore, 1 kalasa is allowed. If you have 2 crores, you can have 2 Kalasas. Allowed, that is. You may have, you may not have, but you are allowed. This man's house had 9. And he wanted to, his mission in life is to round it off to 10. 10 Kalasas. That was his life's ambition. This guy. That much of wealth this fellow had. Is a great, salesman. And he's a big businessman, yes. He had about 9 crores. Which means, from that we understand. Because they had that Kalasa, we understand he must have had 9 crores wealth. That otherwise we don't know exactly. That means so much of wealth that fellow had. We are talking about during Purandaradasa period. Okay. And Purandaradasa Kritis were the one which was taught to Tyagaraja. That is how Tyagaraja got trained to sing. Musical teaching even today. For the kids when we are teaching, all those things which are taught were created by Purandaradasa only. Such a great musician is this man. But he decided to leave. His wife said, yeah, let's distribute the wealth to the needy and go. No. To which this man gave a reply. He says, I have decided this is a waste. It's a dirt. When you go and leave the dirt on the street, will you be standing there and checking who is collecting that? You keep the garbage in the street, right? Outside. You put the garbage in the bin you throw. When you throw that in the bin, do you wait and observe who are all picking it? No, you are not supposed to pick, only that fellow should pick. It's a garbage. Who picks, who cares? As far as I am concerned, this 9 crores is what? Garbage. I don't care. Let's walk out. He never distributed the wealth. What happened to the wealth, nobody knows. Who all took all the wealth? This is a garbage, man. Who cares about it? It's parting. We see this parting is not possible for us. You have to part that wealth with somebody. It's a pain. You see, so painful. Now look into every aspect of wealth. Earning is painful. Preservation painful. Spending painful. Parting painful. Everything is painful. But still, there is a tremendous attraction towards acquiring wealth. You see that? It is so painful, but still you will go for it. It is so powerful, that attraction towards wealth. People sacrifice their life for it. Look at your life. From 23 onwards till 62. Your whole life is concentrated on what? Revolves around what? This is if you are employee. If you are a businessman, forget it. You will never retire. A whole life is revolving around only one. How is it so powerful, sir? Even though it is painful, you observe it, every aspect is painful, but still it is so attractive. Why is it so attractive? From where it comes? Because what is so interesting is, you want to live life, your living needs money. You need that money. Correct? Can you live without money? Not possible. Isn't it? Now, Ishwaran can give a lecture, wealth is calamitous and all those things. But then if I have to organize a lecture, what I have to do? I have to come out for collection only? No. If you have to live in this world, you need money. Now, how can you live without money? Therefore, wealth is directly connected to your survival. Remember, even though it's all painful, We understand. Yes, reality of life, theoretically we understand. Is this painful, sir? But still, why you are directed towards it is because living needs money. Then comes the question, how much? Correct. Living needs money. Correct. How much of money is needed for you to live? How much of wealth is needed for you to live? Suddenly you find each one of us have our own equation. I remember one fellow has, idea. He says, Ishwaran, about 25,000 rupees comes every month. Maja life. Life is such a maja. All that I require is what? 25,000 rupees. So another fellow says, for my dog feed, I have to buy. That costs me around 18,000 rupees. This dog feed per month cost is 18,000 rupees, he says. Now, imagine these two fellows have a conversation. That's what is interesting is. Now, the man who genuinely thinks, who wants to move from, who's earning 10,000 rupees, and he wants to go to 25,000 rupees or 15,000 to 25,000 rupees, he will genuinely feels that the man who's aspiring to move from 100 crores to 200 crores, he calls that man as what? Greedy. That is a word we have. He says, but me who wanting to move from 15,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees is justified. Justful. Correct. Necessity. Whereas the man who says, I want to move from 100 crores to 250 crores, that is greed. That's what interesting in wealth is. See, it's nothing to do with quantum, remember. That's where we arrive at this truth. You say, no, it's not that. Then what does wealth do? Now don't go out, keep saying, you can buy mattress but not sleep. You can buy AC, but you can't have a cool mind. You can have a cooler in the house, but you won't get a cool mind. You can buy books, you can't buy knowledge. Correct now. But that but will come immediately. All that is correct, Ishwaran, you say. You can purchase all these things, man, but not love, but not, you can't say, I will pay you another 15,000 rupees. Love me, no, from tomorrow. Be nice to me, no. You can't tell that to people, Unless they choose to be loving towards you, only they will be loving. Or they will not be loving. If they are loving, they are loving. If they are not loving, they are not loving. You can't buy that from more money. It's not possible. Similarly, you can't buy knowledge also with more books. You can buy books, but you can't buy knowledge. Not possible. Correct. But still what you will say? I want more books. I want more. What does it say? Wealth gives what? Gives bodily comforts. What wealth provides? You cannot deny that fact. Remember that. Don't go out and saying wealth is useless. You see, Shankara is not saying wealth is useless. Wealth has a role to play in life. What is the role of wealth? Wealth definitely gives physical comforts. If I have more money, I can buy a spring mattress, sleep well. Spring mattress I can buy, correct. If I am not having, I have to buy one dari only. I'll put a dari on the floor and sleep. Poor fellow. A little wealth, I'll buy, sleep well. If I'm really good, I can go for a Tempur mattress. Starting from 1,20,000 rupees. He says. Pillow is 15,000 rupees, he says. 15,000 rupees, who will buy a pillow? What is in the pillow? But that there are people who say that, I need that. That is my necessity. This is my necessity. So your necessities were defined by what? See, there is a person who says, all that I require is just a roof on top of my head. That's all I need. I don't require anything else. Then there is another person who says, all that I require is just a single bedroom apartment. All that I require is a triple bedroom apartment. All that I require is an independent house. All that I require is what? A bungalow. All that I require is what? A farmhouse. All that I require is a what? An island. Each one. But what is interesting is, the person who says, I want to move to a single bedroom apartment, can never understand the fellow who wants an island. I want to buy that island, he says. He will never understand. He says, that's a greedy fellow. That's wrong. But this is correct. Me who wants to move from a thatched roof to a concrete single bedroom house, this is a genuine one. But that is not a genuine one, according to him. We said, no. What are we doing here? Your needs were defined by what? Needs vary. All of us agree to that. You see, needs vary from person to person. But what is interesting is, to you, what defines your needs? Needs means what? What do you mean by needs, sir? Need, comfort, luxury. There are three things, isn't it, in life? One is, certain things are referred to in life as need, necessities. Certain things are referred to as comfort. Certain things are referred to as luxury. To have a water tap in my bathroom is a necessity. To have a nice shower with the panel is a comfort. To have a jacuzzi is a luxury. Correct? But suddenly one fellow says, jacuzzi is the necessity. Now what happens? Now how jacuzzi becomes a necessity for him? When he is building a bathroom, he says, sir, there has to be a jacuzzi in the bathroom, at least in the master bedroom, if not in all the bedrooms of the house. Master bedroom, which I am going to use, obviously, because I am the master of the house. Okay. Now, what defines that, sir? What defines your necessities? On what basis you consider certain things to be your necessities, sir? You ask this question, you will get the connection here. Your necessities were defined by your affordability, isn't it? Whatever you can afford becomes your necessity. Whatever I can afford becomes my necessity, isn't it? Independently, there is no. Now go back to the rule. Life, living needs money. Correct. But my necessities were defined by what? All of you are able to see the vicious cycle. Huh? Life, if I have to survive, I need money, man. Without which I cannot. But my needs are defined by what? My necessities are defined by the wealth that I have. The wealth defines my needs, and then I say, for that need, I need money. So wealth defines your wealth. That's all it is. Finally, you cancel this here. Wealth defines wealth. That's what he says. Artham, anartham, he says. Meaningless this is. There's no logic there. The artham, anartham. It's calamitous, destructive. How much ever wealth you have, remember, your living can be. Meaning, if you take your personality, human being, a human being is a combination of what? Body, mind. Body has two sets of organs, organs of perception, organs of action. Okay, so organs of perception, organs of action, then manas, then buddhi. Buddhi has two aspects. Tikshna buddhi, sukshma buddhi. Gross intellect, subtle intellect. Beyond all this is the self, the pure consciousness. Which means a human personality, if you take, it has organs of perception, organs of action, manas, buddhi, gross, subtle, self. How many are there? I repeat, organs of perception, organs of action, mind, gross intellect, subtle intellect, self. There are 6 dimensions to your human personality. Okay. In that 6 dimensions of human personality, wealth's contribution, highest contribution of the wealth is going to be towards what? We come for reverse. It has no connection with reference to the self. It has no connection to the subtle intellect. It can never do any value addition. When I say no connection, it means no value addition possibility. It cannot value add to the possibility of subtle intellect, gross intellect, mind. Even to your actions, it cannot add any value. Its value addition is only with reference to what? Organs of perception. 1/6 of your personality alone, his ultimate contribution is, highest contribution from the wealth you can have is contribution to your senses, not even to your actions. If you have wealth, doesn't mean your actions will get better. Not necessarily, please. Your performance is not going to get better. It is not that if I have wealth, I can speak better. Can you? My communication is not going to be, my speech is not going to get better because of more wealth that I have. That is not possible. Even if you have the best of recording equipments, still, if I sing, how will it be? You people want a demo? If I start singing, whereas even with an ordinary record, even without any recordings, you can, without any musical back to this, nothing. When M.S. Subbulakshmi sings, how is it? Huh? What is it, sir? With all this communications and everything, we are struggling to collect people. Without any newspaper advertisement, without any communications of all the things that we have had, lakhs of people gathered to hear Martin King Luther Jr.'s talk. How did they come? How many papers gave that advertisement? How the news had spread? How all those people arrived to listen to this man? The speech of Vivekananda, is it because of wealth? Have more money, can you speak better? Impossible. Does your actions get better because of your? No. Therefore, beyond the organs of perception, contribution of wealth is nothing. And you are engaging all this, barring the self. Rest of the things were taxed. You extract the taxing from the organs of action, manas, gross intellect, subtle intellect. Every one of them have to suffer and pay the price to get that wealth, which contributes only to the sense of one fellow. Will that organization flourish? What do you call that society? Whole group struggles and works, they slog. Don't you call that as exploitation? That society, that's what happened in France. Is it the French Revolution? Against the aristocrats, the labor class, revolt against aristocracy. Why is that? Because everyone works, but enjoyment of all that produce is given only to that set of people. Everybody else have to suffer. Is it justful? What will be the effect, sir? Effect is a rebellion will happen. It will rebel. Now apply the same rule to your system also here. In the pursuit of wealth, you are engaging everything that is under you is used to acquire wealth, but that wealth at best cannot have any value addition to any one of those fellows. And if you are forcing them to continue the contribution, what is going to be the effect of it? That's what he says. You, in the pursuit of wealth, in the search of wealth, the search of wealth is always at the cost of your whole personality. Whole personality suffers. After acquiring wealth, what are you going to do? That's what this man says, no? You search wealth at the cost of health and then spend all the wealth to regain that health. The madness. Artham anartham is this. Wealth is calamitous. Think about it. We'll see more in the next class.